Hey everyone, I'm Donald Sutton.
I'm Casey Scarboro.
And this is the fourth and final time that we will be with you guys of Wayne County and Goldsboro. Now, you'll actually be moving away from Wayne County like we talked about. You'll be going to Greenville. I'll still be here, so I'll still be with you, just not with you on the television screen. That's a sad story. That's a sad story.
And I'll make sure to come back and visit all you guys.
Yep. But you know, you're leaving, I'm staying. And I don't know about Greenville and ECU, but I know there is a lot of fun stuff going on in Wayne County.
Oh yeah, definitely stuff to come back for.
Yeah, just any time of the year, really. But coming up in the fall, there's amazing things.
Yeah, definitely one of the big things that's every year is the Wayne County Fair. You don't want to miss it up at the Wayne County Fairgrounds. It's coming up. I think it opens September 27th, I want to say.
Around that time.
About that time, you know, it runs for usually a weekend, and then it has a weekend, then another weekend, and then it closes. So make sure you don't miss that. All the fun games and rides. Make sure you don't get nauseous. I hate that. There's always this spaceship ride that I go on, and goodness knows I cannot necessarily keep my food down if I go on that. So I make sure to steer clear of that one.
Now, you're talking about the fun of the rides, and that's amazing. That's always something you want to go to the fair for. But it also gives Wayne County a chance to show off our talent in just the performing arts, because we have the talent show. We have our pageant there, and then we have a lot of agricultural stuff. We have a lot of local horse riders, I believe. We have just amazing things going on there. What else do they have there for the agricultural part? Do you know?
They have pig showings, I know a lot, and I think they have a lot where you can actually, if you're just looking at them, you can go through and look at the different animals, and I think for some people actually you can buy some if you want to look at some horses or cows or bulls or anything like that. So definitely something you don't want to miss out on.
Well, now, if that is true, I did not know about that. That is cool. And they sell local products, too. That's the best part. They have a part towards the back where you can buy, I believe, just like locally made jams and jellies and all that stuff. And products, too. Not just produce. But it's a really great time. I love going every year.
You know, speaking of produce, something else that opened up in Wayne County not too long ago was the new Harris Teeter that we have in town.
Oh my, did you drive by a Wayne Memorial the day that opened?
I was not brave enough to, no.
Oh, no, I remember. I was sitting there, and I called you because we were about to meet up and go have lunch. And I was just like, whatever you do not drive down Wayne Memorial. It was bad. They had police officers directing traffic. It was full. I'm pretty sure the police officers directed traffic outside, leaving Harris Teeter, at least a good 3 minutes straight. Luckily for you, you were still in bed. You hadn't even left the house yet. So
I enjoy sleep, what can I say?
Well, not when you're making these. 7 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, well, these start at 7 a.m. in the morning. We have to be here a little earlier. You know, and I'll tell you what, one of these times we came out here, there was just this amazing, let me say it one more time.
Amazing.
She did it for me. Sunrise. And it was just, it's beautiful. I live right in front of a field, and I saw these two little deer just running over the place, and then there was the sun, and it just right over the trees and clouds. Whew! But back to events. All right, next week, I believe it is, we have the movie night for the Paramount Theater. And the Paramount's always got amazing things going on.
Always. We
talked a few shows back about Stage Struck and Center Stage. They do that at the Paramount. The Paramount has a performing arts series. This year there's ventriloquists, family shows, shows about families. The Hunts, that's one of them.
Live music.
That is one of the live music. The Hunts. It's these brothers and sisters. And from what I've seen, they kick some butt. They are good. And if you guys want any information about this that we can't give you or anything, check out GoldsboroParamount.com. And let me look down the number. That is a 919-583-8432. And you can call the Paramount anytime you want. I think their hours of operation are 9 to 5. It might be a little different, but I know they close at 5.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
You know, speaking of we have tons of new things in Wayne County. Something else that's opening up in the Berkeley Mall coming up soon. I think in November. It's a craft store called Joann's. You know, I myself love Michael's, but I've heard that they're opening up and they have tons of stuff like the crafts and the cross stitch and sewing and all that typical stuff.
Well, it's like Michael's.
Right.
Which is really good. It's nice to have the crafts outlet. I know a lot of artistic people, and they just sometimes there's just not that high-end thing they want to go to.
Right.
And now we're getting Joann's. So boom.
Really nice.
But what else? I think the mall. Did we just get it back? I haven't been recently. Did we just get it back, or are we getting it back? FYE in the mall.
You know, I'm not sure, but you know, FYE had left the mall a little while ago, and turns out they were just closing down for a minute to kind of keep up their inventory, and they're moving right down the hallway in the mall. So if you liked FYE, look for them.
Walking away from stores, we've got Taste of Wayne coming up. That's going to be mid-October. Tickets are $15. I have not been yet, but I've heard it is amazing.
And if you want more information on that, just stay tuned here, and Wayne and Kim will let you know about that.
All right, see ya.
Thank you.
Today we're talking with Kevin Whitley. Kevin is the Director of Environmental Health Office here in Wayne County. And sir, good morning.
Good morning, Wayne.
Appreciate you being with us today.
Good to be here.
Governor McCrory recently started a campaign for people to be aware of their condition of their well water across the state. And of course that includes here in Wayne County. Which got me to thinking, you know, we need to talk to Kevin about this. Kevin, here in Wayne County, we do have a fine water system in place.
Yes, sir.
But people still use wells as well.
Yes, sir.
Now, give me some idea of the requirements, the conditions, the parameters, or whatever about wells.
Okay, well, let's say it's a new well that is being constructed. First of all, you would come and apply for a permit, and what we do when we go out is make sure it meets all the setbacks that the state has set forth to make sure that we protect the water source, the underground aquifers.
Okay.
And so
that I understand everything
okay.
you're talking about. What do you mean setback? What's a setback?
Setback is the well has to be, say, 25 feet from a home. And the reason for that is that if you spray around the home for termites, the pesticides that they use don't make it into the well. And then the same thing, 50 feet from a septic system. We prefer 100, but it can be 50 feet. But like I say, you meet all these setbacks to try to protect the well, and also the well can be a conduit for contamination to the groundwater. So that's the other reason is, you know, we're trying to protect the resource, and if you protect the resource, then you'll have clean drinking water.
Good.
Yep. Another thing that people on these wells that they have to be careful about is that to make sure that they're sealed up at the top.
Right.
So if it's in an area where there's maybe a potential for flooding, that you don't get flood water running into the top of the well. And what we find on older wells, these what people call bored wells or tile wells, they're usually either 24 and 18-inch concrete tiles, basically. And they were dug years ago, and what they would do is they would drill down and then set these tiles, which are usually in 6-foot sections, they just set them on top of each other.
Which is like a concrete pipe.
Yes, sir.
About that big around.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And what would happen is none of the joints were cemented, so you could have infiltration of water. And what we find a lot of times too is in these older wells, what they would do is they would just knock a hole in the side of the tile and run a pipe down, so you have grass and soil sticking out on the side of the well. So bored wells are really known for having contamination in them, but not really like fecal or anything, but you can have coliform bacteria that's found on the surface making its way into the well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now that is indeed a health hazard.
Yes.
It is indeed.
Yeah, and
so do you recommend plugging those wells, covering them, filling them up?
Yes, sir. I mean, you can try, there's some things you can try to do, but like I say, as far as for drinking water, they're probably not the safest. Either get on the public water system or put in a new well. You can still use that well for irrigation in your garden or whatever, but probably wouldn't try to drink from it.
Right. Okay. Let's make sure you understand, or make sure I understand that.
Yes, sir.
It's okay to wash your car, use it for your garden or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Or water your lawn.
Yes, sir.
But don't use it for cooking, and don't use it for drinking or bathing.
Yes, sir. Well, like I say, if it's not been sealed properly. But the only way to know for sure is to come test it. And for $35 per sample, we'll test it for bacteriological, which tells you if there's any coliform bacteria or fecal coliform bacteria. And then if you also want to know, which is a common problem in Wayne County as far as like iron and that sulfur smell that you get, if you get an inorganic chemistry, which is $35 as well, it'll tell you the pH and numerous other inorganic minerals that could be in your water. So it lets you know as far as the hardness and things like that. And then we can also do nitrates, which is important for homes that are on well water that have small children.
Right.
Because if a child is under 2 years old and there's a high level of nitrates in it, basically it can cause what they call blue baby syndrome.
Okay.
And basically the nitrates absorb the oxygen and it suffocates the baby, and that's why they had the blue. So that's always important to test for nitrates if you have a small child in your own well water.
Now, what if you know that your well is relatively new and all the piping and everything is okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you still need to do these tests?
Well, in Wayne County, when you apply for your well permit, all that testing is already included.
Okay.
So we, like I say, we'll go out and site the well, make sure it's meets all the setbacks, like I mentioned before, and then we'll come back when the well driller is getting ready to grout it, because what the state requires is, say they drill 100 feet.
Okay.
Well, they back around the screened area where the water is going to infiltrate the well, that has clean sand packed around it. Then from there up, they can just backfill it with the material that they got out of the hole. But the last 20 feet from to the surface has to be grouted, and most of the well drillers now use bentonite clay. They pour this clay in there, and it is so sticky and swells when it gets wet that it won't allow anything to infiltrate around that casing.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And we inspect that to make sure that that's done. Then we also come back out and make sure that the wellhead is sealed up properly and it has the vent and everything that the state requires, and then we do the sampling. And then once we do the sampling, you can we'll give you the results, and then you know if it's safe to drink. But in Wayne County, as far as new wells, 99% of them are just for irrigation.
Just for irrigation?
Yes.
Where do we stand on coverage of the water system?
The coverage in Wayne County is exceptional. There are some isolated spots, like some soil paths that some people live on that don't have public water system, but for the most part, the county's covered.
All right. Do homeowners or residents have the option of using public water?
Yes, sir. As far as I know, and like I say, the water district will know more about it than I do, but if the water line runs down there, they can tap on if they want, if they choose to, or they can continue to use their well water.
Okay, all right, that's good. But now, getting back to the older wells,
yes, sir.
Again, we would caution people in using those wells. Right,
especially if it's an old bored tile well. Yeah. Those, like I say, all the ones I've ever sampled, they usually come back at least for coliform bacteria. And that it basically tells you that you're getting some type of surface water infiltration into the well. Okay. And so, like I told you before, you can try grouting around those seals, especially if they've knocked a hole in the side and the suction line that runs down into the well that pulls the water up, if it isn't sealed up. Some are correctly made to have the suction line going down through the top and there's a rubber gasket, but if you see those old tile wells and it's got the big covering and there's no suction line going in, what they've usually done is knocked a hole in the side, and if you take that lid off, you can see grass growing in and a little bit of everything.
Okay. The older wells in danger, you're in danger of encountering the coliform.
Yes, sir.
But what about the sulfur? Can that be harmful?
Well, there's a limit on it. Like in Wayne County, like I was telling you before, most people complain about the iron and the sulfur smell, and that's common. And basically, there's a limit set for iron, but it's kind of like a cosmetic limit, because basically if the iron is too high, it's going to stain your clothes, stain your sink and your bathtub. It won't really hurt you, but it's a nuisance. Yeah. And the only way to get rid of it and the sulfur smell is to get a filtration system. Yeah. You have to, and the one that works the best is the one that uses rock salt, and it'll filter out all that stuff and you'll be good to go. That's
a lot of work, and at the same time you might end up spending more for that than you would.
Yeah, there's a maintenance. There's a maintenance fee for that filtration system. And like I say, I don't know the exact cost, but
Yeah.
you're right. You still have all the concerns you would have with a well, plus the maintenance fee. Where if you hooked onto county water, you know that it's safe, it's tested, it's regulated. But there again, some people claim that they like their well water because it doesn't have that chlorine taste to it.
Well, that's
so
true.
You know, it's all a personal preference.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, now you mentioned testing of the public water system. How often is that water tested?
To be honest with you, I'm sure it's probably tested every 6 months or at least annually, but that's handled through the state. They send us results as far as saying, okay, this has been tested, but as far as what's required, I couldn't say.
And we're not trying to move in on any of the local water districts and their area, but where does the county stand with working with the county the water districts in that area? What responsibilities do they have?
Well, as far as the water districts are regulated by the state, so we really don't have any interaction with them as far as requirements, as far as with the wells, because most of the time the wells that the water district use are such high capacity wells, they get a permit through the state. Because with the Neuse River rules, high capacity wells have to, if you are going to be drawing down a lot of water through them, the state wants to know where all this water is coming from and how much is going on, and so that's all regulated through the state.
All right. What might be a misconception by the public about your department? Is there anything that people call you about and say, you know, I thought so-and-so and blah, blah? What do people misunderstand about your office?
Well, environmental health, for the most part, all we handle is we grade and inspect food handling establishments.
Right.
We handle wells, and we handle septic systems. And like I say, we don't really have anything to do with pest management. Wayne County doesn't have a mosquito control program. And another thing, dealing with pests, like in the county, if there's high grass or the neighbor's not cutting their yard,
Right.
Wayne County doesn't have an ordinance requiring you to cut your grass.
Well, now let's let people think we do,
Yeah.
so that they'll cut their grass,
Yeah.
but we don't have an ordinance in that.
No, sir.
area.
Well, when we get a complaint with something like that, I'll send out a letter after we ride by and make sure that the grass is high.
Yeah.
And that's a relative term. You know, what's high to you and me might not be high to somebody else.
Right.
And so if it seems like it's a little bit above normal or excessive, I guess I should say, we'll send them a letter asking them to cut it.
Right.
But we can't require them.
But your office also handles, you mentioned food establishments as well. You're responsible for the grading of the health grading?
Yes, sir.
Wow, we'll have to talk about that at another time.
Yes, sir.
Because that's a very interesting process, I think it is
Yeah.
anyway.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, and wells, of course, which is what we touched on today. And what was the third one?
The septic systems,
okay,
right.
We'll talk about that one
Yeah.
day as well.
Yes,
because
sir.
we're out of time right now. And Kevin Whitley, the director of the Environmental Health Office here in Wayne County, I appreciate you coming in.
Okay. Thanks,
a lot.
Wayne. Thanks for having me.
Joining me in the studio today is Stewart, Bryan, and Tommy King of Wayne County Chamber of Commerce's Young Professionals. Let's find out what's happening with the Young Professionals group. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you on the show again.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Tell us exactly what Young Professionals is for those who may not know, and then give us some ideas of what you do in the community.
It's a organization through the Chamber of Commerce that we began 4 to 5 years ago to give young people 21 to 40 something to do in Goldsboro, to network, to meet people. It's like Tommy and I, for instance, I probably wouldn't have known him if not for Young Professionals, and now we're really good friends. It's a way to network, meet people, and we do programs morning, lunches, and evening, so there's options for everybody to be able to come do something.
Well, Tommy, give us a background, and I know you've done it before, but I'd love to
Right.
hear your story of how you came to be a part of this program and what it's done for you as someone who's not from our community.
Yeah, I lived over in Kinston for approximately 5 or 6 years. Worked over here the entire time, and as soon as I was done working, I would literally just go back home. And once I did finally move over here, maybe a year went by, I was still doing the same thing. I was still in the same process. Didn't get to know anybody in the community. But once we joined the chamber and I joined the Young Professionals group, kind of started going to the meetings, meeting the people, and just kind of worked my way up the ladder with the Young Professionals group, and got to know this crazy guy here.
So it's really changed your world, to
It
be
has.
quite honest.
It has. It's opened up a lot of new doors for me that I would not have been able to get into before if I weren't a part of the chamber and a part of the Young Professionals group.
Well, that's a success story right there in its own, isn't it, Stewart?
It is, absolutely.
Well, tell us about some of the things that are happening with the Young Professionals group. There's some exciting changes that are taking place coming up soon that the community is really going to hear about and be exposed to.
Our first event on the agenda is October 25th. We've got the Monster Bash. This is the fourth or fifth year? Fourth year of the Monster Bash. It's October 25th, Friday night. We're going to go from about 8 p.m. to midnight. We've got the Carolina Treat Band playing for us. They're a great local band.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to play for us. I'm going to DJ a little bit between their breaks. And there is a small cost to get in the door, but once you're in the door, you're covered for the rest of the night.
Well, tell us exactly what this Monster Bash is.
It is it's a costume party for adults, for working individuals. If you don't have anywhere to go, a lot of adults, 21 to 40, still like getting out and getting dressed up for Halloween, and we try to provide that. Try to provide a good atmosphere, and also it's a chance to network and meet new people at the same time.
Well, I've heard great stories from the past of how you all have had a really good time and how you've brought more and more people. You know, sometimes people may not want to come to a formal event or a meeting, but they might be more open and willing to coming to a gathering of some nature. And this really opens the door for them to start networking and becoming more comfortable with your group and with new individuals that they may not have known before.
It does.
Sure.
Wonderful. So what's happening after the Monster Bash?
We have a few things coming up after that, and I'll get to those in a minute, but the biggest thing that the Young Professionals as a group and our young infancy is doing is we're taking over the Christmas parade this year for the JCs, who have done it 50 years. No one really knows exactly when they started doing it.
Just all our lives, right?
As long as I can remember.
Me
and
too.
we're doing that, and it's the first Saturday, which I believe is the 7th of December. And we have a theme this year. It's called A Storybook Christmas, and it's pretty much movies, books, whatever you can think to characterize your floats with. It's all up to you to figure it out. We're on the website for the Young Professionals, which is through the Chamber. We will have something about that opening up September the 23rd.
Okay.
And then all the information from there will come out from there.
So that's where people will go if they want to register to be a part of
Exactly.
the Christmas parade. You would need to go to the Chamber of Commerce's website, read that information. So in the past, it's been the JCs that have taken care of all the organizational part of the Christmas parade, making sure everybody knows where to be in the line, and all the things that a lot of us just take for granted.
Right.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden now the Young Professionals are taking that torch and running with it, and I feel quite sure you'll do a fantastic job. And this is year one, so we're going to wish them all the best when it comes to taking over the Christmas parade, and we expect great things. A Storybook Christmas is the theme. You'll find out more about that on the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce.com on the website. So anything else happening with the Young Professionals that we need to be aware of?
We have two events in between the Monster Bash and the Christmas Parade. One of those is a Habitat for Humanity Build Day that we do. It's the first Saturday before Thanksgiving. And this is a tradition. This is our third or fourth year doing that. And that's should be on the website as well, information on that, where it'll be, when it will be, times and whatnot. And then another big event that one of our big give back to the community events is Toys for Tots Drive. And that's last year we were the biggest fundraiser of toys in Wayne County for them. So we're pushing really hard to do that again.
Well, for the Toys for Tots, Stewart, is there already a set spot lined up as to where people can drop off toys, or do we need to come back with that information a little
We'll
later?
have to come back because we don't kick that off till right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So there will be designated boxes at restaurants, businesses, and other
We
places.
usually have about 5 locations across Wayne
Oh,
County.
excellent. Well, how about the Habitat for Humanity Build Day? If somebody in the community hears this and they're somewhere between the age of 21 and 40, and they're thinking, well, you know, I don't know much about Young Professionals, but I've always wanted to participate with Habitat for Humanity and come out and help build a house, what would they need to do, or who would they need to contact?
The thing to do would be to call the Chamber of Commerce. They would call 919-734-2241, I believe, or look on the website, waynecountychamber.com.
And I believe it's on the screen. Yes, it is. Okay, great. So you can call the Chamber of Commerce, you can visit the website, you can send an email, anything you'd like to do. We encourage you, if you are in the ages between 21 and 40 and you'd like to participate in any of these events, If you give the chamber a call, they will certainly send you in the right direction. But you're always looking for new members?
Yes, we are, and that's one thing you can do at the Monster Bash. We're actually going to charge a discounted rate where you can actually get into the Monster Bash and also become a member for next year.
Oh,
so
great.
you get a few months for free, and then you're a member for 2014 also.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, guys, it sounds like you've really got a great organization. You're doing wonderful things, and you continue to grow and really form and look forward to things that you are giving back in our community. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the future with you all. So thank you so much for coming on the show and for what you do.
Thank you.
For our
Appreciate
community.
it. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And this is what's happening with the young professionals with the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back, everyone. This is our last 5 minutes with you guys. It was the last 10 minutes before. It's the last 5 now. But hey, Wayne and Kim are going to be back for the rest of it, and they're going to be Monday through Friday again. And I'm sure that they will give you amazing times. That's my word of the day. That's what I've decided.
Amazing.
Amazing. See, I've used it. I wanted to say awesome. I did. I wanted to say good or great. I really did.
Now amazing.
Now amazing. Amazing has just come out. Geronimo. Allons-y. Let's do this. Allons-y's French for let's go, by the way. There's your history lesson. No. Oh, history. That's a foreign language. But speaking of history, Battle of Downtown Goldsboro in December.
Goldsboro Bridge reenactment. Definitely want to make sure you come out for that. Each year it gets bigger and bigger. It's a Battle of Goldsboro Bridge. You know, it's great. It's time for you to come out and learn about local history. If you want to come out, be proud of where you come from, you can know you go out and watch and support it. So.
Yes, you can. We actually have one of the previous ones running on WGTV from time to time. And I'll tell you what, it is a very popular show. We have a lot of people watching it, and I think that it's about time that they go out and see the live version.
It is really nice. You'd be surprised how much different it is to see something live rather than just on your television screen.
I mentioned this on our first show, but it's getting closer to the time for auditions.
So
we have
remind
Christmas Carol. Yes, to remind you. We have Christmas Carol coming up, the 6th annual production. Last year, 5th annual, I was lucky enough to play Ebenezer Scrooge. They aged me up. We actually, WGTV, ran that around Christmas time last year.
You did.
That's a fun fact. So some of you very faithful viewers, you probably remember seeing that. It's a really good show. Come out and support local Wayne County. Come out and audition for a Wayne County show. The auditions for that are September 30th and October 1st. Dogwood 201 at Wayne Community College. The shows are going to be at the Paramount Theater December 13th, Friday the 13th, December 14th, and December 15th. So just have an amazing time. It has been an amazing time. What kind of a time has it been?
Amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. Really though, in all seriousness, I've had a great time with you guys these past 4 weeks. Casey, I think you've had a really good time as well.
It's really been great sharing time with you guys.
Exponentially amazing. See you guys.
Thanks.